Hello, everybody. Welcome to another exciting episode of Jimmy's Jambox. We're here. We're back at it again, and we're going to get on into it. But before we do, as always, please make sure to like, subscribe, push all the buttons, do all the things. You know, I don't know where they are, but you do, and I trust you. With that being said, here's a quick word from our sponsors. Organic herbs and botanicals, skincare and edibles, wellness for body and mind. The Brothers Apothecary. Fine teas and remedies. Ronald Records. From indie gems to classic hits, discover the heart of local music. With live shows all the time, up close and personal, and regular releases on their in-house label. Ronald Records. Supporting the community, one track at a time. All right, thank y'all so much for watching. Again, shout out The Brothers Apothecary and Ronald Records. Make sure to click the link below and go check them out. Guarantee you're going to like it. With that being said, let's go ahead and get on into it. Here is today's guest.
What's up, y'all? I'm Hernan Trillfiger.
Hello. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Jimmy.
Yeah, why don't you tell us a little bit about, who you are, where you're from, what you do, give us that Tinder profile of your involvement with music.
Yeah, I go by Hernan Trillfiger.
Mm-hmm.
I make hip-hop music. I'm based in Southeast Portland. I'm 22 years old, and I've been doing hip-hop for around 4 going on 5 years now.
Okay, hell yeah. And what got you into music initially?
My big brother makes music as well. He goes by Archie Trillfiger.
Oh, shout out Archie.
Yep. He's been making music ever since I could remember. I've been a little kid, and I've been seeing the whole process of him developing as an artist, recording, getting better with time, and I guess I just been around it so much. It's been a big influence on me without even knowing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just one day, I guess it was so much influence that I decided that this is what I wanted to do.
Oh, yeah, no, I dig that. Yeah, I guess when you're around it, you're going to kind of almost eat it up by osmosis.
Exactly, right?
Yeah. And I guess, how long had he been doing it when you first got into it?
Well, I first started doing it and releasing around the same time, which is around 2020, I believe. So around that time, I'd have to say maybe 10 years he'd been doing music, yes.
Yeah, so you had seen it for so long by that point.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I guess he probably already had kind of an established setup, and you were just able to kind of get into that space.
Exactly.
So he did a lot of the legwork to get it available.
Yes. I'm very appreciative of all the work he's done and stuff like that.
Yeah,
it was real easy for me to just come in. Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, and I mean I could definitely. It's cool because when I listen to the two of you, because you guys have definitely put out a bunch of music together.
Yeah.
But it's nice that you two sound different. You know what I mean?
That's good.
I can see some of the similarities just from hanging out together.
Yeah.
You're gonna kind of adopt certain approaches, but it's easy to distinguish the two.
That's good.
Yeah,
I'm glad you say that.
Yeah. But we'll dig into that in a little bit. Let's go ahead, and I've got a couple foundation questions.
Let's do it.
Everybody on.
Yeah.
And this first one, it's one we ask early, it's one we ask often, and it's definitely a crowd favorite.
Ooh.
What was the first album you ever bought with your own money?
Oh, see, I thought about this question. Unfortunately, for being a 2000s baby,
I was gonna say, you probably lived in the era of downloads and streaming. And
yes,
things like that.
Exactly. I never got that experience of going to the store and purchasing my first album.
That's okay.
But thinking of this question, I think it'd be a dope content idea to go actually do that and go buy my first album.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, hey, if you do it before your episode comes out, we'll put it on we'll put it right here. So if it happened, we put it there.
Hell yeah.
But I do have a kind of a backup version for the question just in case. What was the first album you remember actively listening to cover to cover, the one that you had to re-listen to over and over to experience it fully?
Yeah. I have to say, since I've been exposed to music for so long, since I was a little kid, I say as a kid, I would just listen to it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't know what it was until later on. But when I really got into it, I think I would have to say the album Cold Corner 2 by Lloyd Banks.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a real, I don't know, real New York sound, but a little fresh.
Yeah.
Of course, Lloyd Banks, so there's a lot of bars and stuff like that. And yeah, it was a real different sonically sounding album that I hadn't heard of, and I got real into it, and I had to listen to it cover to cover many times. Yeah.
Man, Lloyd Banks isn't a name I hear a lot, but that's a really cool one.
Yeah. As a whole, G Unit has influenced me a lot. 50 Cent, and all that, even when the game was a part of it.
Yeah.
But Lloyd Banks, I think he, like you said, he's not really mentioned a lot, but he is one of my favorites.
Yeah. And also, it's funny because recently 50 Cent has been mentioned a lot more on the show as well.
Oh, really?
And I think that's cool. Like, I think it's nice that he's like finally getting acknowledged for what he was bringing to the table.
He did a lot.
Yeah, like, because I think we all kind of looked past like how melodic a lot of his music was.
Yeah.
And like, I think that's finally starting to swing back around. Yeah. But I know that wasn't your answer. And this is not his episode.
No, you're good. You're good.
You. What was the first live show you ever went to? That was like one you wanted to go to.
Yeah. I've never really gone to too many concerts. I've only been to a couple. The first one that I went to as an adult, I went with Archie as well. It was a Dizzy Wright concert.
Okay.
Yes, and it wasn't too long ago, I believe, maybe 3 years ago, if that. And I like him as an artist, but I never really dove too much into him.
Yeah.
But the concert alone, his performance, the whole vibe.
Oh, I could imagine.
Yes, I liked it. I liked everything about it. Even the openers and stuff like that.
I was gonna say, who was like performing with him? Do you remember?
I think there were local openers and stuff like that.
Okay.
I think Lord Lawrence was opening.
Oh shit! Hey.
Oh yeah, I didn't even
What a coincidence! Shout out Lord Lawrence.
Yes. Yeah. And I think maybe he did have someone else come out with them with Dizzy Wright, but I'm not exactly sure who. Remember who?
Okay.
Who that
Hell
was.
yeah! I mean, I'm sure that was a rad show, especially if Lawrence was opening. But
it was.
Dizzy
really
Wright's
cool.
a cool experience. I wish more of a what were they called? Funk Volume? Was that the?
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, names are the worst for me.
Yeah.
Like, that whole group was just, it was really powerful and underrated for its time.
Yep. I agree.
But again, I'll tangent forever. Let's get back to you. And before we move into more of what you're doing in the current day, do you have a defining moment where you decided you wanted to take music more seriously? I mean, I know it was kind of around you, so like you kind of just jumped into it, but like, do you have one, like a moment where you're like, yep, this is it for sure?
I think so. I dropped, when I first started making music, I felt like I made a pretty good, solid song. So I released it, and then I released a second song after that. And I didn't release any music for around like a year or two. And I'm like, well, I decided to be an artist. I've only released 2 songs, and I haven't dropped anything for a while now. Is this what I really want to do or not?
Yeah.
And around 2022, late 2022, I decided that it is what I wanted to take serious, and it is something that I love to do, but I felt like there was a need to learn a little bit about the business as well, treat it like a business. So my first plan was to drop a little more content and stuff like that, and then get into the business side. But me and Archie got together and we created a good 5-year plan, and I'd say that would be the turning point in saying, this is what I want to do, and actually this is what I'm going to do. Yeah. And I say that'd be the turning point.
I think that your moment was like very decisive. Like, you know what I mean? Like a lot of people are like, oh, I remember I was standing in this space and I decided to do this. But like, it sounds like you literally like, no, I'm making this decision. Yes. How do I make this like an achievable thing, and what does it take? That's really cool.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah. But now let's go ahead and let's get on into you in the present day.
Yes.
And we're going to get what I think is a very easy one out of the way.
Okay.
How'd you pick the name?
It is a pretty easy one, I would say. My name, I'd say, is pretty unique. I haven't really met too many people with my same, is my actual government name. Yeah. My first name, Hernan. So I thought that was pretty unique, but I wasn't sure. So I had thought of a couple things. I'm like, Hernan sounds pretty similar to, or actually is written pretty similar to Hermes, the clothing brand, or luxury brand. And I'm like, I don't know. And I'm like, maybe Hernan something. Maybe I could think of a cool last name. But then I was like, you know what? My big brother has his a version of his first name and a pretty unique artist last name. I'm like, you know what? We are brothers. But I didn't want to just start calling myself that. So I was like, you know what? Let me see if I could get his approval. I was like, do you think it'd be a smart move, or do you think it'd be cool for me to be Hernan Trillfiger as well? I mean, we are brothers. And he was like, you know what? I think that is pretty cool. So I stuck with Hernan Trillfiger, and yeah, I never had no other name before that or after that, and I think it's pretty cool.
Oh yeah, no, I dig that.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about this recently. It'd be cool for when you two put out, because you guys do put out a lot of music together.
Yes.
It'd be cool when you put out music together to just be the Trillfigers.
Yeah,
like,
that'd be cool.
You know what I mean? So like it's almost like it's kind of like how Black Star is. Black Star,
yeah,
Mos Def and Talib Kweli.
Yeah.
Like, just like that, like it's that entity where it's like, instead of being like, oh, it's this person and this person and having to like say it twice, it's just the Trillfigers.
No, you're right.
And like then it becomes an icon, then it becomes like an identity.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
and like
cool.
you could each make your own like emblem logo.
Yeah.
And when the two of you are together, like it make it like two halves of the symbol kind of thing.
Oh, that's
like, you know, that's just that was something I was thinking about the other. So I'm leaving it here.
Yeah. No, shout out to you. If we do that, we got to do that. Shout out to you.
Hell yeah. Now let's go ahead and let's talk about your writing style.
Oh, okay.
And we're going to break it up into chunks, but we're going to start right at the beginning.
Yeah.
So when you get inspired, you're ready to make music. What are some of the things you do to get a track started?
For me, most of the time, it usually starts with the beat. I need to vibe out with the beat for a while before I get to actually making the song.
Okay. And do you like get them from like people you know or on the internet, or how do you go about like curating beats?
Most of the beats that I've used for all the songs that I've released have been YouTube beats.
Okay.
But my brother does produce as well. And we do know a couple of local producers as well that we have gotten beats from. I've actually just recently released a song produced by Archie.
Oh, nice.
I think that, if I'm not mistaken, I think that's my first one produced by him.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, I mainly use YouTube beats just because sometimes they're so fire that I'm like, I gotta use them. But yeah, after that, it really, I don't need to be in a specific place. Sometimes just lyrics just start coming to me while I'm working, while I'm on my way to work, or just randomly, and I'm like, I gotta write it down. And yeah, sometimes I don't even write do a whole verse in one sitting. Maybe sometimes I get little
bits and pieces.
Yeah, exactly like that.
And so do you mainly write? Do you ever go any freestyles, or is like really pen to paper kind of like the approach?
Yeah, when I was younger, the idea of freestyling always seemed so cool to me, like just being in a group and being able to freestyle something cool. But I never practiced it too much. So no, all I do is write. But I do like freestyling.
Yeah, that's all right. I mean, there isn't any wrong way to do it.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I've heard people who are like just monsters at both approaches.
Yeah.
Like, as long as you're doing what you're comfortable with, I think.
No, I agree. Yeah, there's no right way to do it.
Oh, yeah. And then once you get a track finished writing, so it doesn't have to be like recorded and released per se, but once you finished writing it, how long does it usually take you to get comfortable to the point where you can perform it?
Oh, I haven't performed all of my songs, but the ones I have performed, I'd say all it would take is a good week or so. Okay. Because prior to having that song ready that week, I would be rehearsing my verse to record it.
Yeah. So gotcha.
Yes.
So do you write everything before you'll like press it?
Yes. Yeah. You know what? I never thought about that. Yes. I write it completely, and I don't record any pieces until I have it fully complete. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. That's kind of a cool, that's a little bit more of an old school approach, but I'm a firm believer that's kind of a good way to go about it, because then you learn like the space of the whole piece.
Exactly. Yeah. I want to make sure if it's too short, I have enough to to fill in, or if it's too long, I don't want to have to cut anything out.
Yeah. Well, and it's a good habit to have, because like writing in the studio, while it's like, it's fine for like at home, like if you have your own rig, and I mean, a lot of at home rigs are more than good for like that kind of thing now. But like when you want to go to a bigger, better space, like a bigger space, you want to show up prepared.
Exactly.
So like that goes a long way. That is a good habit to have developed early.
Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Oh, yeah. And then I guess, because you've only, on paper, you've only been doing it for, about 5 years.
Yeah.
But how has your process changed just in the last year? Have you like solidified any approaches, or have you been kind of doing the same thing?
As far as writing or making the music?
Yeah.
I just say I've gotten more comfortable with not being scared to mess up or not finish a verse or whatever. Just write. And later, if we need to cut anything out, I'll cut it out. I guess just being more comfortable with making the decisions as an artist or whatever. Being loose with it, not having any restrictions, not saying I have to stick within this certain format or anything. Just being loose with it. Yeah.
Okay. Hell yeah. Well, hey, that's a good thing to learn.
Yeah.
And like looking at your music, you've put out a bit of music, like only having done it since, because it goes back to 2020, like you said, on Spotify, and it's a lot. Like I didn't even take the time to count it, because it was just one of those things where I was like, all right. Like it's a grip of work. And I mean, you put out a grip of music with your brother. I mean, the most recent was Slumped Boys.
Yes.
And that's a solid EP. Like I almost went and grabbed a track off of that for my personal pick, but I decided to go for tracks that are mainly you.
Okay.
Or at least don't have Archie on there, just so we can do a little bit of separation there. Shout out to Archie again. But
shout out.
I wanted to kind of give you your moment on. So the first one I picked was actually, which this one does have a feature, but it's Gold Grills.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
And just that, I mean, the beat was super wavy. You were sliding all over it. I mean, El Profita did like a great job, like as a feature.
Yeah.
But like, it just kind of had this feel to it. It was really like it was bouncy. You felt really comfortable, and it was a really cool vibe. And then the other track, and I had to add another one on there, but the only reason I didn't like make this the main one is because I don't respectfully know what you're saying on it.
Oh, okay.
Barrio.
Oh, okay. That's actually the one I was talking about. That's produced by Archie.
And that one stood out to me sonically.
Oh, okay.
Because it felt, and not to say the other stuff isn't good.
Yeah, no.
But it had kind of an evolved feel to it.
Yeah.
Like I mean, you rap really good in Spanish.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thank you.
But like your voice had a little bit of a different like cadence to it. It had a little bit of a different timbre.
Yeah.
And like the layers on your vocals felt a little, like it made it feel a lot more full.
Yeah, appreciate
it. Just like the approach on it was really cool.
Yeah.
So like I said, I can't really speak much on what you were speaking about.
Yeah.
But like the song itself, just like it was really an enjoyable experience. And if that's the direction you're moving, that is a really good direction to be moving.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. Yes.
Yeah. But I am curious to know.
Yes.
What is your favorite song to perform?
Oh, see, the earlier of my songs, I wasn't thinking of performing. So a lot of the breath work is not, I don't have it down for those.
I got you.
But I think me and Archie have been, it has to be with Archie, the collabs that we've been doing have been a little more performing vibe songs, I would say, a little more upbeat, I would say. And I would have to say any of the songs of the Slump Boys EP.
It's such a good EP.
Yes.
Like like I said, I only tried to like separate it for you just for that part.
Yeah.
But like it's a really good EP.
Yeah.
The first track off it in particular, I can't remember the name.
10 Bands.
10 Bands. Yeah,
yes.
that track. Like, great way to grab you right away. Solid track.
Yeah, shout out to Archie. That project was his idea. I added my ideas obviously as well, but that whole thing was based off his thoughts and his vision.
Yeah, it's definitely a solid approach for sure.
Thank you.
This just kind of as you were saying this, you can always take older music and rework it. Like, don't be afraid to like remove change up a beat a little bit, or like slow it down, or like add, or even just like drop parts of it. Like, I think if you have something that you like from before and it doesn't work this way now, you're welcome to like change your own music.
Yeah,
Nobody's
yeah,
gonna stop you from doing it. So you have such a huge catalog that some of the stuff may be worth revisiting and just kind of like revamping to make more functional for now.
Yeah.
Because you got a lot of stuff to be sitting on to like not do anything with if you can.
Yeah. And there's so many eyes that haven't been exposed to it yet.
Exactly.
So you're right, I can change it up. And I feel like you're right. A lot of artists are too scared to go back and retouch their work.
I mean, I wouldn't say scared. Some people, I think, just like they think that they have to move on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're like, oh, well, that was then.
Yeah.
But like, you don't also, and I mean, definitely a lot of like bands and stuff do this. You don't have to perform something the way that it is in the recorded version.
Okay.
Like you can make, like I always think it's fun to make like, if you have like a more slowed down track, to make like a more like summertime bounce version of it.
Okay.
For like that time of the year when you are performing, or if you have one that is super fun and like vamped up, it's fun to make like chilled out version.
Yeah.
Then also live, you can read the room a little bit. And if you're like, man, we just did like 3 hard songs in a row, but I know people like this song. You can give it to them, but you can give it to them and give them a chance to kind of chill. And then they're like, wait, this is that track. Like, I know this is that track, but this isn't that track. So like it just, and especially like, I know with like older beats and stuff where like you got them off of YouTube, it's hard to like revamp them. But there's nothing to say that, like Archie can't go and make like a revised version of it that's different, but similar in concept. And so that kind of just, that just kind of gives you a way to refresh some of your previous work, especially now that more people are experiencing your sound.
No, that's a really dope idea. I have never even had that thought come into my
no, and it's not the most common approach, but like I said, just you have so much stuff you're sitting on, and a lot of your previous work is solid. So if the only thing that's keeping you from performing it is like the presentation per se, change it up a little bit. Nobody's gonna yell at you for it.
Yes, we're gonna have to do that. We're gonna have to go back and some of the songs that I feel like I can't perform, we're going to change them up and we're going to make them performance songs.
Another thing you could do is if you have a handful of them, you can make you could do a live cuts if you want to, but you can always go and like redo them all as one body of work and release it as a like, these are the performance version. So, that just gives you more ways to like have more engaging content without having to like really do a lot of work. But it's still, it's interesting. It's new. So that just leaving that here for But let's go ahead and get back into this. Let's talk about some of the new music you're working on. Let's talk about stuff that isn't out yet. How would you describe it? Like, how would you like characteristics wise, like what can we look forward to in like a change in sound or like a new approach? What's happening with your new music?
I think all the stuff that or mainly most of the stuff that I have put out has been real deep, real personal, a little dark maybe. I'm working on, I don't know exactly when, but hopefully a late summer project. And it's still a little bit personal, but it's a little more loose. It's a little more fun. It's a little more summer vibes. It is hip hop, but it does have a little bit of an international feel. There's going to be a little bit of Spanish on there, but there are some full English songs on there as well. It's getting a little more loose, a little more fun.
Well, definitely looking forward to that. And now let's take a moment and let's zoom out. So we've already we've dived all the way into music that you haven't even put out yet. But let's look at all of music as a whole. What are some of the things about current music that you like enjoy or you find inspiration from?
I like that there's so many sounds now. There's not really what's it called? A format in which you need to operate in. There's so many fusions of so many things. Like you were saying earlier, they're like, don't go off too much in the genre that you do. But I think just the fusion of everything, I think it's pretty cool because it is not only music clashing, it's also cultures mixing together and stuff like that, which I think is better because I think there's more collaborations going on and stuff like that as well. That's pretty cool.
I couldn't agree more. And I think that actually that's something I don't hear as much. Like there are other aspects of the world that are introducing music that's more accessible just through like the internet, through like people traveling more, through like people being more open. Like, there was this I forget what style of music it was. He was like trap or hip hop or rap or something along those lines. Opening for Red Hot Chili Peppers recently.
Wow.
Like,
that's crazy.
Yeah, like what a meshing of worlds. Like, so I think that, now that more people are willing to like go and see, like I was just watching I forget whose story it was, but they were like showing a house show that they were at. And like, it started with like hardcore music. And then it went to like this super chill, like groove rock. Like punk rock. And then it ended with like this like R&B singer.
Ooh, okay.
Like just like that was the finisher of the evening. And like and everybody, like more and more people kept showing up, and all the same people that were there from the beginning were there at the end. And just like vibing to it the whole time. So I think we're now kind of in this era where like any music is fine as long as it's like either people or people with good intent or a solid performance.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Oh yeah. But now, before we move into the next portion, this is probably the densest question in the interview.
Okay.
We've talked a lot about, your experience with music, the action, the reaction, the decisions that led you to it. But when it's just you and music one-on-one, what does music give back to you?
It lets me be open. It lets me be free. I'm able to say anything I want to say when it's just me and that pad or on my notes. Any thoughts, any feelings. I don't have to be scared. I can say whatever I choose to. And it also, even if I don't put it out, it gives me a chance to reflect on the things I wrote down and stuff like that. So it's very therapeutic. I would say that. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, thank you for sharing that.
Oh, of course.
But now let's go ahead and let's move on to some hypothetical
questions. Cool.
And for these, sky's the limits. The questions are all made up, so the answers are allowed to be as well.
Okay, cool.
This first one's pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
If you could work with any one person, the only requirement is they have to be alive.
Oh, okay.
Who would you want to work with, and how would you want to work with them?
This is really hard, man.
I know there are a lot of people out there.
Yes, and I don't know which way to go to. I could go hip hop. I could go maybe R&B. Man, this is really hard. I should have thought of this before I came here. Just off the top of my head, because I feel like it wouldn't be a really common answer, and maybe people wouldn't expect this from me, but I do like R&B. I would want to do something with Faith Evans.
Okay.
Yes, I think that'd be pretty cool. Yes.
Oh man, that is a really good answer.
Yes.
Hell yeah. And how would you want to work with her?
I would say I would want to cater to her and do a song with her like sound and style. Yes.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
And then subsequently, who's a local artist that you're aware of that you haven't gotten to connect with yet, but you would like to?
Yeah. There's a lot of really dope artists, and my brother has worked with a lot of really dope artists as well. But I feel like some of them don't. I wouldn't. My voice or style wouldn't match up as good. But I will say somebody. My homie No Life Luis, he is based in Portland, I believe, in the St. John's area, and I would say him because of his variety of style. He does hip hop, but he also does a little mixture of other things like pop or little other sounds, and I feel like we'd be really. Our voices and our styles will really match up perfectly. So I would love to do something with No Life, please. Yes.
Well, everybody, you know what to do. Add them in the comments. Let's see if we can make that happen.
Let's do it.
And then for this next one, like I said before, sky's the limits, and it's pretty literal in this sense.
Okay.
But if you could perform anywhere in the world, and you wouldn't have to worry about crowd access or building stability or power, it was guaranteed the best lineup, guaranteed the best show, and it doesn't have to be a venue. It can be anywhere. Where would you want to perform?
I feel like I don't want to give the same answer as Archie, so I'm going to give something different. I feel like just the energy there would be very powerful in the Colosseum, in the Roman Colosseum.
Okay, hell yeah.
Yes. I feel like it'd be... there's many things that happened back then there, and I feel like there would be an energy about it.
Yeah.
And I feel like it'd be pretty cool to...
Well, that was like the original performancing space.
Yes, exactly.
I guess technically not really, but like, that was the thing. It was like everybody went there to see it. It was like a 360 experience.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
I feel like that'd be cool.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
And then to wrap up the hypothetical question.
Okay.
If you could get one more album from anybody, they could be alive, they could be dead, they could have not put out an album in 100 years, they could have put out an album yesterday.
Okay.
Who would you want an album from?
Man. You know, I haven't really thought of this artist and I haven't really bumped his music in a while. But through high school, I really loved his music, even though he's been very popular before that. Mac Miller.
Okay.
I would love I would love an album from him. Just he was so vulnerable with his music.
Yeah.
I feel like the fans really connected with him in a different way. And
yeah, no, I mean, he's definitely somebody that we lost like way too soon. Like to think about where his music would be today, like, especially with like just everything that's happened in the world, like he's right up there with like I always a lot of people have said Michael Jackson before, but I really wonder what like Michael Jackson's music would have done for us now. Yeah. And like Prince, obviously. Like, Hendrix is the one where I'm kind of like up on the fences on, where it's like, I think that maybe he would have kind of reached a point where he probably would have taken a step back, but that's neither here nor there. I'm running off on mine now, but, but I think Mac Miller is definitely somebody that we lost way too early. And his music would have been probably very prolific by this point. Yeah.
Towards the end of his passing, he was talking a lot about love and stuff like that, which I feel like is very needed nowadays.
Very much so. Very much so. But with that being said, let's go ahead and start wrapping this up.
Let's do it.
What can we expect in the next between now and the end of the year?
Like I was mentioning, I do have that summer project coming out, so you guys can definitely expect that. I have another 3-track project that I've been working on from a producer that I actually linked up with through Instagram.
Okay.
He's from Canada, actually.
Oh, dope.
So shout out Klaus Beats. I got that project coming real soon. I'm expecting it to come out maybe in the fall time.
Okay.
And then I would like to finish off the year with a winter project. And in between then, I'm going to sprinkle some little singles that I have in between.
Oh, yeah. Do you have any like shows coming up or anything like that?
Not currently, but why not? I'll speak it into existence. Me and my brother do want to lock in towards the end of the year the Locks show. Okay. They're coming in November, and we would love to open up for them. So
everybody at them in the comments. Let's make that happen.
Yes, please.
And then for this next one, go and look straight at the camera. Tell everybody how they can find you.
Yes, everybody, you can find me anywhere, social media, digital streaming platforms at Hernan Trillfiger. And yeah.
Oh, yeah. And then any other plugs, any other shout outs, anybody else you want to put on while you're on here?
Shout out to my brother, Archie Trillfiger. Shout out to OBX Empire. Shout out to some other guests that have been here before. AMG, Spencer Boston, FH Ronan. And yeah, shout out to Jimmy as well. Thank you for having me. He's been real hospitable, and I loved being here.
Oh, thank you, man. I appreciate that. All right, with that being said, we've got one last question to go.
Okay, let's do it.
I'm going to steal the camera for just a second. As always, y'all, please make sure to like, subscribe, push all the buttons, do all the things. You know, I don't know where they are, but you do, and I trust you. And one more shout out to the Brothers Apothecary and Ronald Records. Make sure to click the link below and check them out. Guarantee you're going to like them. With that being said, the final question. And this is entirely up to your interpretation.
Okay.
But what is an album you feel is more on the obscure side? So it's a deep cut. It's one not a lot of people would know, but it's one you think everybody should know.
You know what? I already mentioned it, but I have to say it again. The Cold Corner 2 by Lloyd Banks.
Hell yeah.
It's a real dope album that I feel like even him as an artist, he slept on, but that album, yes. So y'all need to go check that out. The Cold Corner 2.
Oh yeah, that's a solid rec.
Yes.
All right. With that being said, we're going to go ahead and get up on out of here. Thank you so much for joining us.
Of course. Thank you for having me, Jimmy.
Oh yeah. And this has been another exciting episode of Jimmy's Jambox. I'm Jimmy.
I'm Hernan Trillfiger.
And we're signing off. Later, y'all.
That's a wrap. This is not a podcast. This is a show. Keep jamming.